And welcome to another episode of Gamerheads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me are my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my other co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike.
Welcome to the show. We have a lot to discuss this week. We'll have some news about Kingdom Hearts 3. Blue, I know you're excited about that. We have some news about the Switch and its sales in Japan. And then we have some listener feedback, games we're playing, and then we have our hot topic this week. And our hot topic this week is, can anyone really compete with Steam? So there's competition out there, and we'll be talking about that this week. But before we get into all that, I want to do an icebreaker like we do pretty much every week. And the icebreaker this week is the funniest holiday story. So I will start. I want to start it off because my story might be a little bit longer, but I have a little bit of a setup. But it's probably one of my favorite holiday stories, but the funniest holiday story too.
So we're gonna have to try to follow your story.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Roger.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1 of my life. Little known fact. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I was a professional actor. Did you know that?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Professional because I got paid to be an actor. It wasn't anything real big.
Hey, were you in the union and everything?
No, I was not in a union. I did not pay any union dues at all, but I'm not part of the Actors Equity or anything like that. But I was in a little group of actors in this production group called the Whirlwind Productions. And this was in 2003. So this is before even I was married. I knew my wife. My wife and I were dating, but we didn't have any kids. We weren't married. And so I did her. She was an actor too. So she did a lot, or actress. She did a lot of acting as well. That's actually how we met. But in 2003, I was doing a musical. I did a musical during the summer. And the director of the musical started his own little acting group, and he said, I want you to be part of it, and I want to do a show for the holidays called the Santaland Diaries. And I said, sure, yeah, I'll do it. And I don't know what I was signing up for. It's a one-man show. It's like an hour and a half long. And it is based on David Sedaris' book Holiday on Ice. Do you know who David Sedaris is at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's his time working at Macy's Santaland, and it's basically stories of working at Macy's Santaland. So I did this show, and the way that our director promoted it out in the wild, right? So you can get people to like hire us. He was like, "Oh, it's like stand-up comedy," which it kind of is, I guess, except for the fact that it's like not really interactive with the crowd. I mean, I'm just, outside the fact that I'm pausing for like laughter and stuff like that, I'm not like interacting like a stand-up comic would, right? I'm like doing a play. And and so we built it. So it was a rated R show because there was a lot of swearing in it. And so we built it that way too. It's an adult comedy. And there would be people bringing their kids to these shows. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't clean up my language for these kids. I just can't do that. And this one, we performed at the university, one of the shows we did. And this older couple was sitting at my right. It was like set up like a cabaret kind of thing with like the tables, like the high tables, bar tables and stuff. Mm-hmm. And this couple, like their older couple, like got up and left in the middle of the show. Like their smiles on their face started like just going to more and more frowns as the show went on. And they like at one point they just got up and gave me a dirty look and left because they're just like, I can't believe. But the worst was a holiday party. We were hired by this company. They wanted to have us do this holiday party, and he billed it as stand-up comedy, right? So I go, and they rented out this hotel room, like one of those conference rooms, and they had all this food out, and all these people, and like they're mingling around and talking, and then their their CEO or whatever of their company came up and said, hey, we're going to be having the stand-up comic now come up here. Please welcome Roger Riker. And I'm like, I'm not a stand-up comic. Like this is not stand-up comedy. So I started doing my show, and they're like standing there like right in front of me, and like they start laughing at first, and then like the laughter stops, and they're just standing there staring at me like, what the hell is this?
That's
And
brutal.
yeah, so at intermission, they came up to me and said, you know, this is not what we paid the $200 for. We were expecting stand-up comedy.
Oh, jeez.
And I turned to my director and I'm like, did you get paid the $200? And he's like, yeah. Let's get the hell out of here. He's like, we can't do that. I'm like, there's nobody laughing. This is a terrible, terrible show. So we ended up the show. I mean, I did cut it. There was like some parts I'm like, I'm just cutting this stuff out, just making this beginning and done, gone out of there. So that was a little rough. But the funniest part was years later, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, about this time, David Sedaris came to this town that I live in at the university to give a book signing and a book talk. So I'm standing in line to get his autograph at this book signing, and I'm like super nervous. And I turned to my wife. I'm like, "Do you think?" So she's pregnant with my son at this point too, and I turned to her and I said, "Do you think I should like tell him that I like played him in a play?" And she's like, "I don't know if you want to. Yeah, go ahead. Like, this is kind of your dream." I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm like, my heart's in my throat, right? And I walk up to him and he's signing our book. We bought his book and I'm signing. I'm like, "I just want to let you know that I played you in Satellite Diaries." And I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting him to be like, "Oh, cool. That's awesome." Instead, his response was, so if you know David Sedaris, he's kind of like sarcastic and, whatever, right? And he's like, "That son of a bitch. That guy that did that play, he stole so much money from me. I got screwed over on that." And
Oh, no.
I know. I was like, "Oh no!" And he just, he turned to his publicist. Then he's like, "You remember that guy?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "That guy screwed me over." And I'm like, "Oh no!"
I bet that's not what he said.
He said a little bit other things, yeah. And I was just like, well, it was nice meeting you. But he was like really nice after that. He asked us, because my wife was really pregnant, and he said, "Oh, like, do you guys know what you're going to have?" "Yeah, we're going to have a boy." And he gave some ideas for names and stuff. He was really sweet and just really nice. He took a lot of time with us, which was surprising because it was a really long line and he was just really nice. But it was just like, I was so excited because I was like, I get to meet like one of my heroes, right? Like, and I got to play him, and I was like, I got to play you. And he's like, "That son of a bitch." So that's my funny story. Anyway,
It's funny now.
it is funny now. It is funny.
Exactly.
I will say that that play was really hard because, like I said, it was an hour and a half long of just me up on the stage, and
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
yeah, and I would drink a lot of. Well, I wouldn't drink a lot. I would drink an energy drink beforehand, which is like terrible because like that just means I can't act. But I would just run out of energy halfway through the show if I didn't do that because it was just so much. It was such a high energy show. But yeah, it was fun. People ask, "Oh, are you ever going to get back into it?" And I'm like, no. Like having kids, like I just don't have the time anymore. Like, and I don't think I have the memory. Like I had photographic memory. I just don't have that ability anymore. So.
Oh, poor guy have to memorize stuff like us regular people.
Yeah, really.
That's terrible.
I know. Actually, I had a professor after I got out of college. I was friends with a lot of my professors, and I was out to eat with one of them once, and I mentioned how I have a photographic memory, and he said, "Well, wait a minute. You cheated through college?" I said, "I didn't cheat. How's that cheating?" He's like, "Well, you memorized a textbook." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but
That's
that's not
the
cheating."
point.
That's the point. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So anyway, that's my story. Like 10 minutes later. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Mike.
All right.
I'm sure
Thank
your
you.
story's awesome.
So, my brother and my sister and I, growing up, were notorious snoopers around Christmas time for our presents. Now, like, we wouldn't actually like go. Well, yeah, we would. We'd go around the house just a little bit, but mostly like when presents were wrapped and under the tree, like a week before Christmas, we would just spend hours just looking at what was labeled for us, trying to figure out what each present was. So one year my parents got a little sick of this, so they created a code system. So they labeled the Christmas presents, to, instead of writing to Mike and to Tommy and to Teresa, they put drawings on there. There's a
Oh.
candy cane, to a candy cane, to Christmas tree, to bell. So we had no idea. So it kind of negated the whole idea of snooping.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a chance to to figure out which one was ours because there were all these drawings on there and we had no idea, these hieroglyphics, and we had no idea what they all meant. So Christmas Day rolls around and, we've got we have our hot cocoa and everything, and we're all sitting in the living room. We got the Christmas music playing, and, my mom and dad are looking all smug and they're like, so now you don't even know what you got, right? You got, you weren't able to snoop. And my mom's like, or my dad says, all right, so now you finally get to realize who's getting what. Mayor, give me the list. And my mom's like, I thought you had the list.
Oh no. Oh no.
Like the code, like the answers to all the codes.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I gave it to you. You said you were putting it in your dresser.
Oh no.
Needless to say, they lost the list.
Oh no.
So we spend Christmas opening up presents based on their memory.
And was it good?
Well, they were arguing with each other too. They were like, I think this one's for Mike. No, that's not for Mike. Are you sure? So if I open a present and it had like, Polly Pocket set or something like that in it, then I'd be like, all right, that's not for me. So it was a very interesting Christmas opening those presents.
Did you figure out the code though by the end of the gift opening or no? No,
still
really?
had no idea. I think they forgot what the codes were too.
Oh my
They're
God.
like, yeah. So
That's awesome.
That's
my story.
Nice.
So, okay, my story. When I was in college, I worked at a Red Robin restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Yum.
Yum, yeah.
And they serve beer there now. Did they always serve beer there?
Yeah, it was funny because I was 19, but I worked in the bar area.
Uh-huh.
Because you only have to be 19 to serve alcohol. And so people would always be like, so what drink do you recommend? I would be like, I haven't tried them, And people would be like, they'd give me this look and be like, come on, I know you tried them. What's the best one? I was like, no, I swear. And nobody would ever believe me. So eventually I just started lying and be like, pick like the second most expensive one. I was like, oh, you're going to love this one. So anyway, one Christmas we had a staff white elephant party and everybody brought a little gift or whatever. And part of the staff were this like 3 or 4 high school boys who worked as busboys. So we put all the presents up on the counter on the bar, and nobody knew who had brought what, just there were a bunch of wrapped gifts. And so my turn came early on, and so I went and I picked up this one bag, and I hear this almost just barely audible snicker in the bag.
Oh, no.
And so all the alarm bells went off in my head. I was like, nope, not that one. So I put it back. I put it back and I picked something else, and I don't even remember what I got. It was probably like some, something from Bath and Body Works or whatever. And so the whole, it keeps going. Everybody keeps going up and choosing gifts. And then every time somebody comes close to that bag that I had picked initially, the bus boys, like, the longer it goes on, the more they can't keep their composure.
Oh,
and so eventually they're just like laughing so hard, and so nobody wants to pick it. And then finally it comes to the last person, and they have no choice but to pick that one bag.
Yeah.
So they go and pick it, open it up, and those jerks had just wrapped dog poop in a bag.
Oh my God.
I know. And so
It's not even funny. That's just gross.
yeah, it's like, really, you guys? That's was your idea of what was funny? So anyways, they all got written up. They had to give away the presents that they had chosen. They gave them to the person who got stuck with the dog poop.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, oh, teenage boys are the worst.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean, the funny part is that they got written. I mean, obviously it makes sense that they got written up, but I mean, like, Like, were they not thinking? Like, I don't know. I guess they weren't thinking.
Well, I don't know. You guys were 16-year-old boys once. You tell me how much thinking you did.
We'll see.
I still don't think half the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, but I would never do anything like that. Like, I would never.
No, I mean, yeah, everybody thought there was going to be something bad in that bag, but no, nobody expected that.
Yeah, no kidding. That's yeah, I don't know. I just never did anything like that. And I don't know. It's just I never found that stuff funny. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kudos to you for your spatial awareness.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It would have been really funny if it had been like, oh, you think that's funny, and just like throw it at them or something. But then you would probably get written up, and then that would have been bad. So.
Well, yeah, it's generally frowned upon to throw dog poop in a restaurant.
Yeah, probably. That's gross.
More so than giving it as an actual gift.
Yeah, probably. So listeners, if you have some funny holiday stories that you'd like to share, you can certainly do so. You can send us a tweet at GamerheadsPC. You can go online to our website and you can become a member on our website, and that's at gamerheadspodcast.com. And there you can share experiences. You can also leave comments on our articles and other things that we have out there. And or you can go to Facebook and go to facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast as well. Before we move on to the news, I do have like one other game-related story that I'd like to share with you guys. So this past week we had Secret Santa at our work, and I got somebody that was a coworker, obviously a coworker of mine, and so you have to fill out this little like sheet, right, that tells you like what you wanted, like what's your favorite color and what's your favorite scent, and I'm like, I don't know what my favorite scent is. What is your favorite drink? And I'm like, beer? I don't know, like I don't know what that is, right? So one of the questions was I could use more of. And the person that my recipient put down, I could use more video games. And I was like, oh, okay. So his wife actually works with me too. So I reached out to his wife and I messaged her and I said, like, so what system does your husband have? And she said, oh, he doesn't have a system. It's always been his dream to have an Xbox. And I thought to myself, well, who am I to stop somebody from having a dream, right?
Did you get him an Xbox?
Well, I mean, I have an Xbox One, so I just gave him my Xbox 360. It was just collecting dust at my house, so I was just like, he can have that. So I just packed up a bunch of my Xbox games, my Xbox 360 games.
Wow.
Like every day during the week, I gave him a different game, and then like the second last day, I gave him controllers and cords, and I'm telling his wife, like, don't make, so the first day, like, I ran into him, and he was like, oh, I don't know who my Santa is, but they're awesome. They gave me a bunch of games. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I have to go buy an Xbox now. This is amazing. And then I quickly messaged his wife, don't have him buy an Xbox, because that's going to be his last gift, right? So last day, I gave him the Xbox, and he was, like, super thrilled. And I gave him an HDMI cable and all the cords and everything, too. So he goes home at lunch. This is the best. He goes home at lunch and hooks it up. And I gave him Forza Horizon 3. That was one of the games that I got. Because she said that he really likes racing games. So I gave him that. And he's sitting there playing the game. And he comes back. He tells me all this. He's like, I went home and I hooked it up and I started playing Forza. And I was just like, oh, I only have an hour. I have to go back. And so him and his wife there. And they have 2 little kids. They have a little baby, in fact. Just like a little one. And he said to her, he said, when I get home, I'm going to want to play games, so just leave me alone. I want some time to play games.
Oh, God.
And she said, after 10 o'clock, after the kids are in bed, and he was like, well, okay, fine, but I'll play it then, but I'll need to have the sound on. And she's like, oh no, you're going to mute it. And he's like, oh no, I'm playing the game with sound. And they're like fighting over this. And the whole time I'm like, oh no, what did I do? What did I just do? And I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. I thought this was going to be nice. I think I don't know. So I'm like a little worried. I guess I'll have to give an update on how their marriage is going.
I'll let you know when you're there as a character witness on divorce court.
Yeah, right. Oh, so that was my other funny story that I wanted to share. So, but yeah, he seemed really happy. Made his Christmas a happy one. So. All right. So, and I will say, I did ask his wife before. I said, "Are you okay with me giving a video game system?" She said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So, I don't know. She might hate me after
So
this.
so it's just so you know now. So now it's her fault.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's
There
right,
you go.
that's right.
Well, just wait and see if one morning you wake up and it's in a box on your doorstep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or better, or even more so, he's on your doorstep saying, with your video game saying,
Yeah,
"Hey, man,
with it under his arm.
I need a place to crash."
Probably. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's move into the news now. So I have a couple items here, and if you guys have any other news items as well, feel free to do so and share those. So the first one I have here is from Nintendo Life. And this is actually an article that I wrote up my thoughts on this on our website as well at gamerheadspodcast.com. But Nintendo Switch has outsold lifetime sales of the PS Vita in Japan. So the Switch has sold 6.1 million units, and the Vita has 5.9 million units sold. And really, I mean, there's that's pretty much the end of the Vita, because they said they're going to stop producing the Vita. So is that a surprise to you? I mean, like, the Vita came out, in 2011, I think? So in 2 years, the Switch was able to basically outdo what the Vita did in 7 years. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering everything we've heard, I mean, it's already outsold the GameCube and the Wii U.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
the Wii U doesn't count.
yeah,
Yeah, that's. But I mean, hearing that is, it's always good. I know the Vita was somewhat popular at first, but it still has a pretty strong following, especially with RPGs.
Yeah.
A lot of people really do enjoy that, but I mean, it's still good. I mean, it's still a testament to the success, and it hasn't even been 2 years yet.
I know, isn't that crazy? I don't know. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I will say. Do either of you have a Vita?
No, see, that's crazy. Is because they're not gonna produce them anymore, and yet you go to buy a new one, and they're still like practically $300.
Yeah.
Like, come on! I thought the price was supposed to go down.
Yeah, I bought mine used. I have a used Vita, and I like it, and I got it before I got my Switch, and I think I got it for like $125, I think. So I will say that the one thing I do like about it is the fact that there's a lot of JRPGs on it, so that's cool. I really like that, and really it felt like that was and I mentioned this in the article too, that this was like a path for how to handle indies, like an indie platform. Like, I feel like Nintendo learned a lot from, I don't know, from how the Vita was handling indie games. Because there's a lot of indie games, and a lot of the games that you can get on the Switch, I mean, you can get on the Vita. But it's just unfortunate. And I will say this, like, the Vita, like, is actually, it looks better than the Switch, actually, like, output wise. It pops a lot better. It's just a better screen. It really is.
Yeah.
It just didn't do as well as a Switch. I don't know.
Well, it should be for $300.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the Switch is $300 though too. So
Yeah, but I don't know. The Switch can be like basically everything to everybody because it can be a TV console. You
Yeah.
can take it with you. I think that's tough to compete with.
Yeah. Well, and so because I mentioned that too, and Matt when I was debating on buying the Vita, he's like, "Well, the Vita can play console games." I'm like, "What?" I mean, it can, because you can do the play anywhere or play like
the remote play.
The remote play, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But I've never got that to work because you need to have your PS4 wired to have that actually work. And my PS4 is Bluetooth, so that doesn't. I have it wireless, not Bluetooth. I have it wireless, so it just wasn't strong enough to be able to do that for me. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Well,
yeah, I guess it's not
kudos
that
to the
surprising.
Switch.
Yeah, and really, I mean, look at the DS, right? That outsold the PSP too. So I mean, it's not that surprising. It's just weird to me to think that, I don't know. It just there's something about Nintendo secret sauce that
Yeah.
other people can't. That's gross. That sounds gross.
Hey, if Nintendo made a secret sauce, I'd put that on everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So anyway,
It's funny that you mentioned that because I don't know if you remember, like during the days of the PSP and the DS,
mm-hmm.
and like everybody was talking about the PSP, and it was like, this is going to destroy Nintendo's handheld
Yeah.
market. And the DS didn't perform that well. Like, it
No.
was kind of floundering. And then Nintendo released Nintendogs.
And it saved the company.
And
It
it
did.
saved the DS. It definitely did that with the DS. It was that now that caused that to like really rocket
That's
in
crazy.
popularity.
Well, it's
Um,
weird. It's weird that you think about to say that though, because I feel like the Switch and I mean, you guys can disagree, but if you feel that you want to disagree, but I feel like the Switch, like I feel like Nintendo's like market before was really family and like kids, right? Kids friendly, and I'm not saying that they don't do that now, but a lot of the games that are coming out on the Switch are a lot more adult oriented than, and like Sony's now doing a lot more of like the I don't want to say censorship, but censorship, whatever, right? Like they're kind of dictating. I know we had a big discussion about that, but like dictating what can and can't be on their system, and I feel like Nintendo's just like whatever, yeah, you want to have on our system, that's fine. It's weird. It's weird to me, like how like kind of that arrow has kind of moved in one direction versus the other. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just both companies, I think, in their own way, are trying to be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
And you can't, but they're
Yeah.
going to try.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. The speculation, and I highly doubt this, but people are like, "Whoa, do you think the PS5 will be a hybrid system?" I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be probably more in line with the diskless, possibilities versus a hybrid system.
Well, yeah, if you want to know what people want most out of the PS5, it's probably not being a hybrid system. It's being backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Just do that and you'll be a hero.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I don't think this is also my thought too. I don't think Sony is innovative enough to make to do something like that, to be like, we're gonna be a hybrid system. They're all about horsepower and such. So anyway, moving on then, kind of related to Sony. Push Square. This is from Push Square. Kingdom Hearts 3 epilogue and secret movie scenes will be patched into the game at launch. In a statement to counter some of the leaked game footage, director Tetsuya Nomura, is how you pronounce his name, wrote, "The game's planned epilogue and secret movie, which are the biggest spoilers in the game, are planned to be released at a later date, just in case, so that they will not be shown before the game's release." In related news, Kingdom Hearts 3 copies hit the streets a month early before the release, and a handful of copies were briefly available via the Facebook Marketplace, but the listing has since been deleted. But people have been sharing screenshots and such out there. So, isn't that crazy? I don't know.
That is crazy.
I like this. Yeah, I like this idea of posting the the ending to the game, or if there's any like major cutscenes or anything like that, post credits, waiting until the game is released for just this reason alone.
Yeah.
In case of leaks, Yeah.
So if you plug in the game on day one and you have a 6-hour download, at least you know it was for your own good.
That's right.
That's right.
Honestly, to be honest, like I would rather kind of like what I did with Red Dead. I just popped it in and went to sleep while it downloaded everything. I would rather have that than just be browsing Twitter and just accidentally see, oh, by the way, here's what happens at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like, no.
It's so funny though, because I think that Kingdom Hearts, because this will be the 10th game, and all of them have been important to the story, and really it's kind of only a fringe fandom that has followed the story all the way from beginning to end. So
yeah, you and Christian, I think those
he and I are the ones, and so I think it's funny because the average person, even if the story is spoiled for them, they're not going to understand it.
Yeah,
is my prediction.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and as much as I keep a pulse on the video game stuff, like I actually, did you see anything about the leak footage, Blue? Because maybe it's just because I don't pay attention to Kingdom Hearts stuff, but
I have heard that it's out there, but I've not come across any on accident.
Okay. Yeah, me either. So, but yeah, I know that there was a tweet by somebody, I can't remember, but it was just like, oh, be careful, there's leak footage out there now, and
And I think the vast majority of fans are doing the right thing in that they're not going to retweet it or share it or help it spread.
Yeah.
And they're just everybody's kind of, reprimanding the people who would do something like this. And so I think the overwhelming response to it has been positive.
Yeah. No, agreed. Also in related news, there'll be a Kingdom Hearts 3 limited run PS4 bundle.
I know. I saw that. I do not need one.
I was going to ask you, did you pre-order this already?
No, I'll just keep saying that to myself. I do not need one.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
And you still don't need one? Because it's pretty awesome.
I have a perfectly good PS4 at home already.
Do you have a Pro, though?
No, I don't have a Pro.
See? There you go. This is a Pro.
You are not helping. You're supposed to be a good friend.
I am. I'm a good friend. So look at you. Really need this.
It is limited.
It is limited. Yeah, think about that.
No.
It's an investment, Blue. It's an investment, and then
And you call yourself a fan.
Oh.
You can't spend $400 on a...
right?
Well, isn't the Pro 500?
Probably. And probably this will be closer to 5. I don't know. I don't remember what the price was, but this does come with the game and a bunch of other digital content as well. So it's going to be more expensive, but
Yeah, it will be, but I'm
It does
getting
look cool.
I'm getting a Christmas bonus from work, but it's not that big.
oh,
But it would be a start.
yeah.
Well, just go down to the horse track, and in no time at all, you'll make enough money to cover it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you
what could go wrong? Mr. Never gambles at anything.
Yeah.
Or you could tell your husband, "Hey, what do you think about picking up a second job during the holiday?"
Yeah, you won't mind, right?
There you go.
I'm sure he won't mind.
Actually, it's funny because that's actually how I got my PS4. Not because I made my wife get a second job. I actually got to say, Tanya, go and get a second job so I can get a PS4. I actually picked up a second job working at a call center during the holidays, and I worked there for 2 weeks just to complete my training. And I was like, I don't want to do this,
Yeah,
but it was
I'm
enough
out.
money to buy. Yeah, exactly.
Got what I wanted. I'm out.
Yep.
That's funny.
The funny thing is, like, I don't know, like 2 months later, they called me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come back and go through training again for like another week because your typing skills are much faster than anybody else here?" And I'm like, first of all, I'm not that fast, so you just know like the quality of people that are working there. And I thought about it. I'm like, it's like another $150 I could just put in my pot. No, I can't do that. Yeah, so I said no.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I already have a second job essentially. My writing
yeah.
is my second job, but
Yeah.
I bought
podcasting is
my
mine.
I bought my Switch from a Barbie article.
Really?
Really?
You wrote an article about Barbie and you got a Switch for it?
Yeah, it was with a website that did pay-per-view.
Oh.
And so for whatever reason, Barbie took off and I got enough money to buy a Switch and a couple games from that one article.
Wow.
Hey, I'm going to switch this podcast to be a Barbie podcast from
Yeah.
now on.
But she has a new hat.
She does. Oh, I should mention, I was going to mention this at the top of the show, but people that are fans of the show and are listening to the show, you will notice that there are some advertisements in the beginning of the show now. I don't make any money on this. I'm trying to get some money so I can at least pay the cost of hosting it. So that's why you hear advertisements, and I apologize ahead of time on that.
Roger knows it's bad.
Yeah, I know.
Please
I'm
forgive
not
him.
a big fan. I know. I the first time it was like, you're an individual, and you can get McDonald's hamburger. I'm like, oh, McDonald's, really? Seriously? Okay, well, whatever. It's just something I signed up for, and you just get a bunch of I tried to control the experience, but apparently McDonald's is like everything. Like
You
whatever
don't
you
tell
select.
McDonald's what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I apologize in advance, but I'll see how this goes. If I can, all I'm looking to do is support some of the costs that I pay for hosting this show and such. So, Anyway, moving on from that, I will not be buying a Switch with that money. I'll tell you that right Nintendo Life. This last one I have here is Nintendo Life. Nintendo Life. Reggie Fils-Aimé stated that half of all Switch owners in the U.S. have bought Zelda, Mario, and Mario Kart. So, according to him, this has never been done before, and this is a quote from him. Those 3 games continue to attach to hardware at a better than 50% attachment rate. Just think about that, he says. For everyone who owns a system, more than 1 out of every 2 have bought Zelda, more than 1 out of every 2 have bought Kart, more than 1 out of every 2 have bought Odyssey. That's never happened in the U.S. video game history, or game history. Really? That surprises me. That's never happened before in U.S. video game history. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I would have
probably
think that the first one.
Yeah,
NES
probably
would have
as
done.
long as they've been tracking it.
Yeah.
Especially with the retro consoles and when the libraries were smaller.
Yeah.
You know, everybody had Super Mario 3.
Well, that's yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like those, the NES consoles, like, you didn't have as many games to choose from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it surprises me that but maybe it's just because of those big, the big 3, right? The big, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's a weird stat to say, like, that's never happened before in gaming history in the U.S. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably telling the truth as far as, what the stats say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's a lot of Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, I definitely have all 3 of those games.
Yeah, I do too. Do you, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. So, 100% on the show. That has never happened in U.S. history.
Yep.
We just proved Reggie right.
We did. That's all I have for the news. What do you guys, do you have anything else?
I have some bad news.
Oh, no. You're quitting the podcast.
Yep. No, I was just in it to get that Christmas gift from you, Roger, and now that I got that, I'm out. No. I'll be here till you get sick of me.
That'll never happen.
But my bad news concerns Resident Evil 2. Which, which comes out at the end of January, of course, which means I was not going to get it right away because I'll be busy with Kingdom Hearts 3. But I was looking forward to it and going to get it eventually. But it turns out when the ratings came out, it has microtransactions.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Why? It doesn't make any sense.
I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I mean, like in Devil May Cry, we still don't know what they're going to be, but why?
Yeah, I would understand maybe if it's like a brand new game, but a remake, like a remake of an old game, why are you putting microtransactions into that?
I don't know. It's not the kind of game where people are going to be concerned probably about, having different outfits for their characters.
Right.
Or things like that. To my knowledge, there's no online play, so nobody would even see it if you had.
Do you think maybe that's what they're looking to do, is add some online play? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
But what would you do?
I don't know. Shoot zombies? I don't know. It's weird.
It would be exactly like the Call of Duty zombie game.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's what it is. It's really Call of Duty Zombie.
Oh my gosh. That's the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I saw that too, and I was like, what are you going to buy with microtransactions? I don't know.
I don't know.
Capcom is really starting to, like, look towards EA for their business model.
Yeah.
It's
a good idea.
With this and the thing they're doing with Street Fighter V, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's too bad. I saw that too, and I forgot that was in the news recently too. So
I blocked it from your memory.
You did, and well, yeah, now it's back. Now you made this show sad. Thanks, Blue.
That's my goal every week, is to make the show sad. So I'll check it off my list this week.
Do you guys have anything else?
No. Have you seen the Sonic posters, the movie?
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
Those are brutal.
They did say everybody relax. We'll have better posters, I guess.
I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the design of the poster they're concerned about.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like it's a cash grab, right? Because it's like, ooh, everybody likes Sonic. Let's make a Sonic movie, but we don't know anything about Sonic. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could make a really well done animated film,
Yeah.
or we could make it live action.
Hey, Pikachu's going live action. Let's do that. Let's do a live action Sonic movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
That
I don't
know. That doesn't look good to me either, but whatever.
It reminds me of, like, it feels like we're moving in the right direction for, like, media outside of video games, like, movies and TV shows, for properties that are based off of video games, like Castlevania. Like, they did such a good job with that, right? And
yeah.
it's like, yay, they're maybe moving in the right direction. And then it feels like back in the 80s, 90s-ish, when like the Super Mario, I know people like this movie, but the Super Mario movie came out. Mm-hmm. That was the worst movie. It's just, it's studios that don't know anything about video games, and they're like, hey, let's come up with a movie about video games. I don't know. It's annoying.
Yeah, this is probably a discussion for another time, but has there ever been a good video game movie?
Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah,
but that was a movie first, and then it was about video games.
That's true. I don't know.
But that'll be a hot topic for another show.
I would say the first Resident Evil movie was pretty good, but
I'll agree with that. And the second one wasn't too bad because they really nailed Nemesis.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was based off the video game property. Really, I mean, it was just a good zombie movie, right? So, I mean, it was based off the video games, but it wasn't necessary, I guess. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. A Monster Hunter World's coming out, right?
We're putting all our eggs in Monster Hunter World's basket.
This is the horse you're backing?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But what about Ready Player One? Was that good? I didn't see that movie, but that's not based off a game either. It's games in the movie.
Don't watch it.
No,
read the book instead.
Read the book instead.
All right. All right. Well, then let's move on here. We do have some listener feedback, so I'd like to go through that. So last week we talked about the Game Awards show. And we talked about the Game of the Year awards and the overall winners. And this is what people had to say about that. So, obviously, God of War won. And this is what people had to say. So, this is from Rebel Tom. And Rebel Tom tweeted, "For the nominees, yes, I do agree. It's not my personal Game of the Year, but it deserved to win. But it deserved to win it as a whole, I think." So, he liked the nominees, and he thought the game wasn't his personal, but certainly deserved to win it. The next one is from Lightning Lariat, and they write, "I enjoyed God of War, but for me, the Game of the Year is Spider-Man. Good man, that's mine too. The way the character was handled was well done." Yeah, me too. I felt that same thing. I felt Spider-Man was. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He's my boy, so. So I thought that was good. He goes on to say, "I dislike Red Dead Redemption 2 a lot. At a technical level, it's incredible, but I didn't enjoy it. I felt like a chore to play. It felt like a chore to play. I never played Fortnite, so I can't honestly comment on it."
Yep.
We appreciate the fact that that's good. Like, you haven't played a game and you say, "I can't really comment on that." There's a lot of people out there that don't play games and they make comments on things, and it's crazy when you think about that, but. I agree. I think that Red Dead Redemption 2 technically is an amazing game. I enjoy it. I know that Christian said that he felt it was a real chore in the beginning, and a lot of people said that too. But I think as the game goes on, I feel like people really enjoyed the story and got immersed in the story. So, but for me, I think Spider-Man. I honestly haven't played God of War. I own it, and oh my gosh, I got to play it this week yet before my week is vacation's up. But Spider-Man is my Game of the Year as well.
See, now you're going to make me choose between telling you to play God of War and telling you to freaking play Hollow Knight.
I know. And Moonlighter and everything else, yeah. My backlog is so deep.
Yeah, you're just not allowed to sleep.
I know.
There you go.
I will say this. Okay, so this is so bad. So I was up until 1 playing Smash last night. And then I got up at 6:30 and worked on the podcast and then started playing some more Smash I did play Starlink yesterday too. So I was streaming that. So if you want to watch some of those streams too, just let you know, you can go out to our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Gamerheads Podcast, and you can see what games we're playing out there. So from Games Nomad, they stated, I agree God of War was my game of the year, despite some strong competition from Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man. Gamer Kratos tweeted, I can say that I disagree and agree. I disagree because it's not my personal choice. I do agree it's a strong contender deserves a spot. When asked what his pick was, he said Smash, which is funny. I think a lot of people would say that as well. And then the last thing that I wanted to just bring up here, this is actually feedback we got from iTunes. So you can actually, and I encourage people to leave us feedback on iTunes, because that lets us know how we're doing with the show. And I love to hear back from people. This is from Destiny Dude, and they write, love me some gaming podcasts like this. Well-informed, fun, and best of all, gaming-centric. Check it out. So thank you so much. That was kind words.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah. So any last thoughts on the Game of the Wars?
Game of the Wars.
Game of the Wars? Game of the Wars?
It's funny because there were 5 or 6 nominees for Game of the Year, but everybody talks about God of War, Red Dead, and Spider-Man. Like the other 3 just were not really even in contention in people's minds.
Yeah.
Well,
they were just there to fill out the roster.
Wait until Monster World movie comes out. People will be like, oh, yeah. Remember the game. Let's do that instead.
So Roger's going to be lined up in costume for the midnight showing. He's going to be the only one there.
That's right. That's right. It'll be good, though. It'll be good times. Yeah, it is weird. That's a good point. Like, nobody talks about Celeste, Monster World, and what's the other one? What was the other one?
It was Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. Everybody talks about how great it was that Celeste was nominated, but nobody actually picks it.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They won, like, we talked about this last week, but they did win one award last.
2.
Two awards, yeah. So, I mean, not that they were losers. I mean, it's weird because Assassin's Creed didn't win anything, right? Neither did Monster World, I don't think.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I haven't played either, so I can't comment on whether they should have or not.
Assassin's Creed is really good. I know people are gonna hate this, but I didn't get into Monster World. Monster Hunter World. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. I didn't like it. But
that's okay, man. It's fine.
I know it's fine. It's,
you don't have to worry about it.
That's right. That's
Different
right.
strokes.
That's
I
right.
gave you my opinions on Red Dead 2, but then we'd be here for a lot longer.
Yeah,
okay.
but we've already been going for like 50 minutes, so
I know.
People are like, get to the point.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's move on then to the games that we're playing. And Blue, we'll start with you. What games are you currently playing?
Okay, so you know what I did this week?
I do.
You do. I finished Moonlighter.
I know. That made me sad.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It made me sad that there's an end to Moonlighter because I'm really enjoying that game.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about it the last 2 weeks, so I'll just wrap it up and give you my final thoughts on why I think you should play Moonlighter. But towards the end, I felt like the experience started to fall apart a little bit.
Oh,
sadly.
really?
Yeah. I definitely noticed some glitches in the later levels of the dungeons. Like one time I fell through the floor where there was no hole.
What?
I know. I was like, what the heck? And
that's a feature, not a bug.
Okay. You're right. I misunderstood what happened. And then like a couple times, you kill the monsters and they drop items, and several times actually this kept happening. There would be an item that would just start flying around the room. What? And then it would go out the door and it would disappear. It was the weirdest thing. I am not making it up. The first time I saw it, I was like, okay, like there's a secret ghost monster or something here. Like, what's going on?
That's so weird.
Nope, it was just this really random glitch where it did a couple circles of the room and it went out the door and it was gone. And that actually happened, I don't know, it happened probably a dozen times.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that. But, I mean, aside from the glitches, because, half of the game is managing the store and then the other half is in the dungeon. So as far as the
Yeah.
store part, like towards the end, like I had so much money. I was drowning in money. I had millions and millions of dollars. And like I had upgraded everything that was possible. I had bought every piece of equipment that was
Oh my
possible,
goodness.
all the decorations. And like eventually I just stopped opening the store because there was nothing else to do. I didn't need the money.
Aw.
And
That's like the best part of the game, I think.
so I definitely found myself at the end wishing there was more to that side of things because I felt like in essence, I beat the store part of it way before I beat the dungeon part of it. So
Oh, that's too bad.
that's okay.
It's too bad that it wasn't weighted, evenly that way. So
Yeah. And maybe the problem is I was just so good at selling things. And I just made so much money, but
it could be.
Now
yeah.
you need to take the next step and open up a store in real life.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, sure. Just point me to the dungeons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I know where to get my stuff.
Well, open the store first, and then you'll be halfway there. And then you just need to find a dungeon with monsters.
Okay, yeah. So when I go get my SBA loan, and they'll be like, so what's your business plan? I was like, okay, so do you ever play Moonlighter?
And like, no.
No, we're gonna deny this.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah, I
awesome.
mean, still overall, it was a blast.
Yeah.
I was pretty much obsessed with this game for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. And I still give it a solid A minus. It's really, really fun. Just at the end, I just wanted a little more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've been taking my time through that game, so I think that's part of, my thing. The other day I was playing that and there was this eyeball. So I'm on the first dungeon yet, so.
Yeah.
But there's this eyeball looking around, and all of a sudden like this big green monster came out of nowhere.
Yep. And you
And I,
can't
like-
hurt it as far
No.
as I never figured out a way to hurt it. So every time
Okay.
it showed up randomly, I was just like, well, guess I'm out.
Yeah, I
See you
died, and I had all this stuff. I had like a bunch of like the Gollum like textbooks and stuff like that, and I was
Oh,
like,
no.
yeah, so that sucked.
That sucked.
Unlike you, I was still trying. I was getting excited when I sold something for 1,000 gold pieces. And I was like, oh, I have 3 of these volumes. These sell for like 1,000 a piece, and then I died, and I lost it all, and I was super crappy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but. I was streaming it too. That was the best part, and I just sat there and I was like, "It's okay. That sucked."
That's funny.
Were you playing anything else?
Yeah, the other game that I played, which I downloaded courtesy of your wonderful Christmas gift to us,
Yeah.
the Sega Genesis Classics Collection.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's really fun. It's
Yeah?
really fun.
I saw some of the screenshots. It looked cool. It looked like you were pulling games off the shelf and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so the main menu is like you're sitting there in like a 90s kid bedroom. There's like posters and there's, a little bit of like, there's like a paper like soda cup or whatever on the floor kind of knocked over and the phone's off the hook. So it looks like a kid's bedroom, but there's a tube TV in the front, and then to the right of the TV there's a shelf with all these game boxes on it. And so when you go to choose what to play, it's like you're pulling the game off the shelf and actually putting it in the Genesis.
That's so cool.
It's a really cool touch. I really liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And it looks like a good collection. Like you're playing Toe Jam and Earl right now, right?
Yeah, because we never had a Genesis when I was a kid, but my cousin, who was like 15 years older than us, whatever, he left his Genesis at our house for a couple months, and the game that he left us was Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh.
So I love that game. And so when I specifically got this collection for Toe Jam and Earl, and the other games are just bonuses. But
Nice.
that's what I was playing was Toe Jam and Earl
Cool.
first.
That's awesome. Yeah, I actually was tempted to get that myself, but and I spent so much money on games recently. I better hold off.
Yeah, I'm glad that I already pre-ordered Kingdom Hearts 3 because January needs to be a lean month for sure.
Yep. Nice. Anything else?
Nope, those were my week.
Nice. Mike, what about you?
So I've been playing a lot of nothing really new, but I've been playing. So I've been playing some more Red Dead Redemption 2. I've learned that what's helping me enjoy the game more is to stop squirrel mode, which is where I'm on my way to on my way to a quest or something, and then I see a
Yeah.
squirrel, and then next thing I know, it's 3 hours later, and I'm in the middle of a swamp, and I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, but squirrel mode is how I play like every open world
Yeah, me
game.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I'm focusing on the story, and that's helping me out a lot. That's helping me enjoy the game a lot more. It's just going straight for the story and not getting distracted by all these other things that are very, very much distracting. So I'm enjoying the game a little bit better. I played some more of the Red Dead Online. Um, I haven't run into any jerks, which was good. Actually, no, because Sherry was being a jerk. She attacked me for no reason. Yeah, she just came up behind me
Oh
and choked me
no.
out.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, real
That's
funny.
crazy.
And then she sold my wolf.
Did you have a pet
Yeah.
wolf?
No, not a pet one. No. I hunted one.
Oh, that's not as
Yeah,
cool.
kind of the opposite. I killed this wolf, and I had the pelt and everything, and we were going back to the butcher to sell it. And I get off my horse, and I glitched into a wagon, and my character just died, like in between the wagon and the horses.
Oh no.
It just got stuck. So I respawned, and while I was respawning, she took my stuff and sold it.
Oh no. Like on
So
like did she think she
yeah,
was
she
doing
knew
you a
what she was
favor?
doing.
No?
No, she knew what she was doing.
Oh no.
So I'm like, all right. That's why I'm like, all right. I'm playing with Roger.
You know, and you messaged me on Friday and said, "Hey, do you want to play?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm really tired." And then I was up until like 1 or 2 playing Smash.
Yeah.
Oh man, so if you can't trust your own posse in Red Dead,
That's right.
what hope is there?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to join your posse now. That sounds a little
I'm forming my own. I'm going Phil Collins on this.
nice.
So I played that. I also played some Smash, trying to unlock as much as I can. But I'm still just going crazy with that spirit board, and it helps me realize how terrible I am at the game.
Oh
Because
yeah. Me too.
unless you're playing something on novice or advanced, or not even advanced, I don't know, whatever's the next up from novice. But the harder levels are, man, they're
Oh, I know.
impossible,
I
impossible.
know. I know.
It reminded me of when I played when I got Perfect Dark and I thought I was really good, and then playing some of those hard challenges, I was like, how on earth can you do this? So I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I played some of the online. I think I'm almost halfway through with unlocking all the characters.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so finally, I've been playing some more Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm at this point. I'm at this point where the game really, the difficulty really amps up. And I'm at a point now where, and it happens to me at least one time, usually just once in Metroidvania games, where I'm like, okay, what on earth do I do now? Like, I feel like I'm stuck. Like, what am I missing? Where do I need to go? I don't know what to do. So what I do in those situations is one of the things I love most about Metroidvania games is I'm like, okay, so I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go back to some of these other dungeons and see what I can find with my new powers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my backtracking in order to level up my character and everything. So I found a lot of good stuff. I've got I found some more armor pieces. So there's like armor pieces scattered throughout the game, and if you find them all and bring them to a blacksmith, they'll give you like the most powerful armor or the most powerful sword, stuff like that in the game, like the gold armor. So
That's awesome.
I'm focusing on that. So I'm still playing that, still loving that.
Nice.
So and then aside from Pokemon Go, that's everything I've been playing.
Nice. For myself, I have been playing also Smash. So I agree with you, Mike. I was playing on normal because I always try to start every game on normal, and I was playing it on normal, and I was fine with the spirits until I got to Luigi with the hammer, and he starts off with a hammer. It's the Donkey Kong hammer, and he was just kicking my butt the whole time. And I was getting so frustrated with that. I was just getting more and more angry. I just went in and turned it to easy. I'm like, this is not even fun for me if I can't even play this game, right? and there was nothing I could do up to that point except for, fighting him next. So I turned it to easy, and then it still was a challenge, but I was able to beat him. But I've been playing Smash. I'm enjoying that. I'm not the biggest Smash person in the world, but I was streaming it this morning. I was streaming it last night too. And I always start off my stream when people join, and I'm like, just let you know, like, if you're coming here to like learn tips or anything like that, like, to stop watching, or you can watch, but this is gonna be a comedy show, not a how-to show. So
it'll make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. This is a feel-good show about yourself. So. And then I was playing some Moonlighter, so I've been enjoying that. And the other game that I've been playing, so the SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, on the 11th, another 11 games came out for free. So I downloaded those, and one of those was Time Soldier. So you liked that game a lot, Mike.
Yeah.
I've been playing that. And then I was streaming. This is one of the games that came with it. And I'm going to continue to stream this. On Saturday mornings, I do a show called Saturday Morning Serial. So I play like cartoony type games, or games that I would have played like when I was a kid and got up early and played video games. And Crystallis is one of those games that I wanted to play as a kid, and it turns out it came out in 1990, and I would have been about 14. So like I was on the verge, like on that cusp of I did have a job, but I didn't. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't buy this game. I did, or I just couldn't find it or something. But it was one of those games I knew I always wanted to play. I just never got a chance to. And now it's part of this collection. And I will say, this game is really good. Like an RPG game. If you have not played Crystallis, you need to play this game. This game is really, really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow, like this, like it plays, it holds itself really well even to this in today's world. So. In today's world, in our times right now, in modern times, it's a good game, and in that itself, I think, like, I hate to say this, but like because I feel like you shouldn't pay $40 for an old game, but you're not, because you're getting a lot of other games. But I think I feel like I would pay $40 for this game because it's that good. It's really good. But yeah, so you get like 20 other games plus now 11 more. So. Definitely, if you haven't picked up the SNK series 40th Anniversary Collection and you are into like those retro style games, this is one of the best collections out there, bar none. So, and then what else have we been playing? I think that might be it. Actually, I think I mentioned
played some Pokemon Let's Go.
Oh, Pokemon Let's Go. That's right. I did that yesterday morning too. So the first half was playing Crystallis. And then the second half, my daughter came downstairs, and then we played some Pokemon Let's Go. And that was fun. Mike watched that stream, so that was cool. Thanks for watching that, Mike.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then I played some Starlink. So, it's one game, Mike, you're getting that for Christmas, right?
I am.
Yeah.
So, you already know you're getting it for Christmas?
You know what? It was too good of a deal. I got it, and I give it to the wife. I'm like, just wrap this up and give it to me on Christmas.
Yeah.
That's quite disciplined of you. I'd be like, Merry Christmas to me now.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I was on Black Friday. I'm like, oh, this will be my Christmas gift. Hey, no, actually, it was my birthday gift. But right now, Mike, at GameStop, they have, I think it was. They advertise it as 50% off on ships, I think, and then 30% off on accessories. But I bought some like other weapons, and they were $10 each, and they came up as $4.99. And the clerk was like, I don't know if that's right, but that's what it's ringing up as. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get some more then. So I bought another pack of weapons. I want to buy another ship, but the R-Wing is like too cool to like. Not play with. So
how far into the game are you? And let me ask, have you tried these weapons? Because I'm looking at them now on GameStop, and I'm gonna probably go get changed and head out there today. But I mean, is it worth it to pick these up? And does it really make that much of a difference in the game?
So they say, and I haven't gotten to this part yet, but they say that there are some enemies that only like certain weapons work better against than others. So I mean, I will say that the frost weapons and the fire weapons that come with the game worked on the first planet that I'm on, and now moving on to the second planet. And I haven't been to that second planet yet. I have to fly there, It's pretty far flight, actually. It's cool. This game is really good, Mike.
Awesome.
It's the best. It's what I wanted in No Man's Sky, and then some. Like, it's so good. It's just, this is a good Star Fox game. It's a really, really good Star Fox game. So I don't know. I guess I haven't gotten to a part where I feel like the weapons would have made a difference, but I'm assuming that that's coming up. And I just like the way the ships look. This is a really cool toy. I like toys, so I'm kind of weird that way.
Oh, please. Hey, remember the picture I sent you? I was so excited when I saw the Banjo-Kazooie figure.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get this.
Yeah. I just got Pac-Man for Super Smash Brothers, so I got that as well.
Oh.
So the game is really, really good. It's weird to me, and I think I may have mentioned this already before, but it's weird that this whole Star Fox storyline is unique just to Nintendo Switch version, and obviously you don't get that on the PS4. But it's so, like, there's so much to it. Like, it's weird. It's weird that they, like, have two different versions of this game, but they do, so. But those are the games I've been playing, and like I said, you can catch me on our Twitch channel, and that's at twitch.tv/Gamerheads Podcast. And you can watch our streams there. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into our hot topic. And our hot topic this week will be, can anyone really compete with Steam? Epic and Discord are going to try, and we'll talk about that when we come back. So stay tuned. And welcome back to Gamerheads. This week is our hot topic. Can anyone really compete with Steam? So I'm going to give a little bit of a background here. A couple articles here. The first one is from Forbes, and I'll kind of just read through some of the high points here in that article. And then Verge, which came out yesterday, an article about Discord. So the first one is from Forbes. So on November 30th, Steam announced one of the biggest changes to its revenue sharing system in the 15 years of operation. The industry standard splits is 70-30, with around 70% of the dollars going to the developer or publisher. And now they have a new system that's going to introduce a scaling percentage split based on the game's sales that they make. So if a game makes between $10 million and $50 million, the developer or publisher will receive 75% of the revenue, which increases to 80% at $50 million. And according to the blog post, Valve's hope is that they will change the reward to make it a positive network effects generated by developers for big games, further aligning their interest with Steam and the community. So really, they're making these changes for, like, the AAA industries. They're trying to convince them to basically go on Steam and kind of going away from their own, like, portals that they're creating, their own storefront portals that they're making. This is interesting. Shortly after the announcement made, indie developers also brought to the attention that there was a decrease of traffic to the Steam pages for their games. Valve claimed that it was just a result of a bug that has been patched back in October, but the developers were still claiming that they are still experiencing the decrease in traffic and thus decrease in sales as of early December. And then on December 4th, I think, Epic said that they're going to launch, or did launch, their store just 4 days after Steam's new revenue sharing system was announced. And their new storefront promises a static 88% to 12% split with all the developers, regardless of profits. And Epic will actually eat the 5% of royalty payment for developers using their engine, their Unreal Engine. And then just as of yesterday, Verge then came out with an article that Discord now is saying that they're going to have a revenue sharing program of 90 to 10%. So 90% going to the publisher or developer and 10% going to them. And this comes from the CEO of Discord, Jason Citron, I believe I also pronounced his last name. And he states, turns out it doesn't cost 30% to distribute games in 2018. So we wrote in a blog post, after some research, we discovered that we can build amazing developer tools, run them, and give developers the majority of the revenue share, no matter what size, from AAA to single person teams. developers will be able to self-publish on the Discord with 90% revenue sharing going to the developer. The remaining 10% covers our operation costs, and we'll explore lowering it, optimizing our tech, and making things much more efficient. So within a matter of days, you have Steam coming out saying, hey, we have this new tiered shared program, and we're going to give more money back to you if you make more money. Epic comes out and says that's a bunch of crap. We're going to give a static 88 to 12% split. And then Discord's like, oh yeah, we can even beat that. We're going to be 90-10. Insane. Isn't that insane? I don't know. That's crazy. So here are the questions that I want to kind of discuss with this. The first one is, do you think that the tiered services that Steam is offering will really attract the AAA studios when a lot of them are going to their own online storefront anyway?
I think that's kind of tough because when people think of Steam, they think it's like kind of like the iTunes of the video game digital store. Like there's no other stores out there. When you think digital PC games, that's where you're thinking is Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know Epic is really picking up Steam with lately with the success of Fortnite and then putting things on the Epic store. I think it would be difficult. I don't know. I think with the tiered services, I don't think that will attract them as much as just the idea of, well, this is our only real option because this is where everybody looks.
Yeah.
Okay, so forgive my ignorance, but why the heck do the AAA games need a storefront like Steam? Because I'm on Amazon and I'm browsing and I look at The Witcher 3 and I see I can buy the PC version right there. Why on earth would I say, sure, Steam, you can have 15% of my revenue?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I also think that like a lot of them, like Ubisoft and what's another one? Can't think of anybody right now off the top of my head, but Ubisoft for sure has their own like online portal, right? Their online store. Oh, Blizzard, doesn't Blizzard have their own online store too? So like.
But why do you even need an online store? I mean, if you're a big enough game that people are going to go, like if you're an indie game, you are counting on people seeing you because they're browsing. But if you're a AAA game, people are going to seek you out wherever you are.
Yeah.
Why do you need an online store?
Yeah, I agree, and I think maybe their thought is that people already go to Steam for other games, that this will just be an outlet for the AAA studios, and they're trying to sweeten the deal, saying, hey, AAA studios, I know you guys make a lot of money. You come here, we can sweeten the deal for you guys. I don't know. I mean,
I understand why Steam would put the deal out there.
Yeah,
but
why would do that?
If I was a AAA developer, I would just laugh.
Yeah.
I was like, why on earth would I give you 15% of my $50 million? Yeah, that's stupid.
That's a good question. And I also think it could hurt in the long run too, because if they're doing this sweet deal for the AAA studios, right? If their bread and butter is really their indie games. And now if indie developers are feeling kind of slighted, I don't know. I think they're going to go somewhere else. I mean, my thought is like, well, you obviously don't want us here. And whether it's real or not, the perception is there, especially with that bug that happened where like they see the decrease in the number of traffic to their games. I mean, that's not, it probably is a bug, right? But boy, the perception is there. Perception is, you don't want us here. Like, why should we even stay here, right?
Was it a bug, or was it like, how Facebook polls? Where they're like, sure, we'll show your content, just pay us a little bit more and you can reach more people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I agree with you, Blue. I mean, I don't see AAA studios being like, hey, I'm going to jump on that. I don't know why they would.
No, I literally, I can't even fathom why God of War would feel like it needs Steam.
The only way I can think of that happening is if they think that that's cheaper to go through them to publish or not publish, but to publicize their game, I guess, or to get the game out there than their own marketing. If they can cut back on their own marketing, maybe. I don't know. But I agree. I feel like some of those studios, like you know, the
Yeah, and the
games speak
thing
for
is,
themselves. So
yeah, exactly. And as soon as you partner with another company, you give
yeah.
up a certain aspect of control.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And why on earth would anyone do that, unless they were little tiny and trying to start out and scraping by and make ends meet and, then you kind of accept the lesser of two evils and that you're giving up some control to Steam. But
Yeah.
I literally, like, my brain is completely blank. I have no idea why any of the AAAs would think this is a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I do have to interrupt. Just in. Enjoy a juicy double cheeseburger now at McDonald's for a limited time only.
See?
I'm just kidding.
See?
Hot damn,
If
I'll
we're
take 12.
Joe Rogan, we don't have to use McDonald's commercials. But we're not Joe Rogan.
Not with that attitude.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No. I agree. I think it's kind of weird. I do think it's kind of weird too. Yeah. I don't know. I think that I don't know. To me, I think this is going to bite them in the butt. I don't know if it's going to attract the AAA studios, and I really think they're going to piss off some of the indie studios. What do you think? Do you think that the changes that Epic is offering and Discord is offering will attract consumers to their sites? So I think it'll certainly attract indie developers. But do you think it'll attract? And I think Epic, especially with the whole, like, hey, if you're using an Unreal Engine, like, we'll eat the cost, that 5% cost, right? Like, that's awesome. Do you think, though, that consumers will be attracted to the site? Because I think, Mike, you made a good point. You know, Steam is the go-to place, right now. So, for games.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that I certainly hope so, because let's face it, Steam didn't really have much competition.
Yeah.
And when you don't have competition, you get cocky, and when you get cocky, you get greedy, and when you get greedy, you do things like they're doing now. So if the Epic and Discord stores are pulling revenue away from Steam, then that will force Steam to rethink their business model and come up with new incentives that only benefit the developers and of course us, the consumers.
Yeah.
Competition in the market, in my opinion, is never, ever, ever a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree. Well, it's funny because I asked the next question. We'll go to the next question a little bit here. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon, but I do think that I think Epic, I mean, is as popular as Fortnite is right now. I think that Epic is certainly the dark horse in this race that I think that could overtake Steam. I do. And it's an interesting offer that they have to offer. I mean, I think it's interesting. Discord came out then and said, well, we'll make it 90-10. Like, literally the next day. It's amazing. But
Yeah, but when you sign up with Steam as a developer, they don't make you sign an exclusive or anything like that, do they?
No.
So then why not put your game on all three?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And just see which performs better, which ends up being the better deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why you wouldn't do that. In Steam, I mean, Matt would know this. Matt Christian, who used to be on this podcast, would know this more than I would. But I feel like Steam, like, anybody could put a game out there. Like, I don't know how well they curate their games, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like, so this is why I asked the next question. Do you think the competition will be good for the market, or do you think it will cause the market to become diluted and confusing? And the reason I ask that is because Steam, I think, is very diluted and confusing right now. There's a lot of games out there that are not very good. I'm not going to say it right now, right? Like, there's a lot of games, like, this is where you can get the school shooter game, right? Like, not anymore, but I mean, at the time, like, Steam didn't curate that. They're just like, oh, whatever, you can put that up. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of games out there that people just take assets for things and then make a game. And you can't see this, but I'm using air quotes because, you know, they'll just take assets and, like, make something and put it out there, and this is garbage. And I'm a little worried that, I don't know, do you think it's going to become diluted and confusing when you start adding, like, Epic and Discord and Steam? Like, where do you go shopping for certain games? Like, I don't know.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say I don't know what you're talking about. If anything, Steam needs more endless runner games.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm using my sarcasm quotes right
Oh,
now.
okay,
Sarcasm
okay.
You
goes.
can't see
I
that.
know, I know.
I think that's just a problem that the market has not yet come up with a way, but I think it will happen. But when you say the games are not curated, that's a Pandora's box I'd be careful about opening.
Yeah.
When you start leaving it to Steam to decide what are the good games and what are the bad games, then yeah, I don't like that at all.
Well,
Because that situation is ripe for corruption, and
yeah.
suddenly the developers are willing to pay more. Well, their games get ranked higher and curated better.
I I I agree. I 100% agree with that. The thing that I don't like is you have to sift through like hundreds. I mean, a game. So if I came out with a good game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big publisher. I'm not a big name, but let's say I'm a one person game, a one person studio. I put the game out there. It'll be out there for like a day before it gets buried with a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me, that's where I'm saying like I agree with you. I think that it could lead to corruption, and I think the market needs to drive like what is good and what's bad, right? But
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to do when there's so much
Yeah.
stuff out there, you know?
Yeah, like I said, I think the answer is not there yet, but it will get there.
Yeah.
But I guess then, like, if that's the scenario that you're discussing, could you go on like the Nintendo eShop instead? They seem to do
Yeah.
a really good job of highlighting indie games.
Do they? I don't know.
I think they do.
I think that I think they could do a better job. I think that the Nintendo eShop is. I think people get buried in there too. If you were if you came out with a game when the eShop first opened up, you'd see a good or a good bounce up, for an indie game. But there's like
Mm-hmm.
the Santa Tracker out there.
That's actually getting a lot more attention than I thought it would. Like everybody's talking about Santa Tracker, just the absurdity of it, and that it actually makes your Joy-Cons play Christmas songs.
Oh my gosh!
Like
What?
it uses the
That's
HD
horrible.
rumble. Like it uses the HD rumble in your Joy-Con. So if you put it down on a surface, it'll buzz and it'll buzz to sound like Christmas songs. And I saw like somebody post a video of it. It was so creepy, but it was like having like a toy that played Christmas music, but the battery is just about to die, so it sounds like something out of a horror movie.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Oh.
Uh,
But
well,
the problem you're describing is really no different than any other kind of content. How do you
yeah,
get people to notice your podcast
yeah,
out of the millions of
yeah.
podcasts out
No,
there?
that's a good point. That is a good point, Blue. How do I get people?
Good night, everybody.
No, I mean, yeah, you make a good point, and yeah, I mean, the more open, I don't want. I mean, I would hate it if somebody curated my podcast and said, "No, you're not going to be on our,"
Right.
I mean, I pay a service. Well, it kind of happens actually. I'm going to tell you the truth. It does happen. I pay a
Mm-hmm.
service, and I'm not on there. I mean, I pay a monthly fee to have my podcast hosted, and I go out to the video games. What do we call that? Like I didn't want to call them rankings because they're not ranked on this app, and we're not on there. And I'm like, how is it that I'm not on here? I pay a $15 a month fee, and there are podcasts that haven't had a new podcast in like 5 years, and they're listed on there as video games underneath their category of video games, and another category of video games. It doesn't make sense to me, but you're right, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It pisses me off.
I mean, it's the downside of living in an age when everybody can create content, and that's wonderful. But it just makes it that much harder,
Yeah.
to be found.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was talking about this with somebody I don't remember who it was, but we were talking about when I was growing up, and I think I'm 99% sure that I'm older than both of you.
You are, but not by much.
Right.
But I remember card catalogs, right? So when you looked up
Oh,
books
yeah.
in the library, you would look up a card catalog, and you knew authors, right? So authors were known for, like, this certain author was known to write history books about this certain things, and this author was known for their books on this. And nowadays, you have online catalogs, and everybody becomes an expert in whatever, right? Online, even, right? You can go online, you can find articles,
And
written.
everybody can self-publish.
And everybody can self-publish now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's the world we live in. It's just hard to sift through the stuff that what's good and what's not good, and I guess that's where I'm saying that could it cause the market to become diluted or confusing? And the other thing that I will say, and I play games, and maybe this is just bad on me, but like my brother-in-law bought Ark Survival, and I found out that he bought it on a PC, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we can play crossplay if I have it on the Microsoft. Well, he bought it on Steam. I bought mine on he bought it on the Microsoft Store. We could have played crossplay with each other on the same server, but he bought it on Steam. He didn't buy it on the Microsoft Store, and I didn't even think through that. I didn't even think about that when I bought it. I was like, how come we can't play with each other? Oh no, it's because you had to buy it on the Microsoft Store. But you know what I'm saying? Like that could cause some dilution and confusion as well.
Yeah, and if I was a AAA studio, I'm releasing God of War on PC. I don't want my game to be who can play with each other, to be based on the whims of these individual platforms. I'd be like, no, you get it straight from me, and you can play with everybody.
Yeah. And I think they're kind of moving towards that direction, but it's certainly it's interesting. It's an interesting tide for sure.
Yeah.
The last question I'll ask then: do you think these stores can really compete with Steam? Do you think the Steam will no longer be the king of the hill? And what? When?
Look what happened to cable TV.
Mm.
They thought that they were untouchable. And it took a long time, but it happened.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Look at Netflix, and I mean even look at Netflix now. I think Netflix then, when they became, and it's still not popular, no
then
doubt.
They thought they were untouchable.
Yeah, exactly. And now you got ABC, and you got
and
Disney
everybody,
their own thing.
Everybody wants their own streaming service now because you get to control your own content.
Yeah, but so
that's why Netflix makes so much of their Netflix originals, so they don't have to bargain with these studios in their own demands.
Yes, but at first I thought as a consumer that was great, but now it's becoming like, oh, no, I have to buy this service for this. Oh, and I want to watch Hulu originals, so I have to buy that, and I want to, you know what I mean? So it became it starts becoming almost to the point where you're almost buying cable,
Yeah, well, it's another industry I think that's in flux.
Yeah.
And they're all competing to impress us, with our limited dollars that we spend on services every month. And probably eventually they will learn again that if they cooperate with each other and can offer more, then they'll be the ones that'll win, and it's just a pendulum. It's going to go back and forth. It'll probably never ever settle on something for long.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I think honestly, it's going to be tough at first, but they need to stick with it. And I think Epic has the money. What they need to do is they need to start getting exclusives. That's what's gonna draw attention.
Yep. But then once they start getting exclusives, then it's like, well, that's another thing I have to have now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's
they need
the
a
part
Stranger
where it becomes
Things.
confusing, diluted. Yeah, exactly.
It'll be the three of them will be the PC equivalent of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft.
Yep. But I will say that I would rather pay into like Discord or to Epic stores where most of my money is going to the developer or publisher.
Yes.
And so if they can get that to work out and I can get most of my games on those two platforms, I'd rather do that than. And to me, I think that like the tiered system to me, I think is a slap in the face to indie developers. when you have the other two saying, no, we'll just do a flat tier. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, to me, I think that's just better business than this tiered crap.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, well then it's getting long. This podcast is getting long, so I'm gonna end it
nonsense!
Here,
It never gets long.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to know though, listeners, what do you think? Do you think that that Epic and Discord can compete with Steam? And what do you think of the tiered system? And what do you think of the profit sharing? Let us know your thoughts. Again, you can send us a tweet at GamerheadsPC. You can email us at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can go on our website at gamerheadspodcast.com. You can leave a message there. There's a contact us. And you can also go on facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast, and you can leave us messages there as well. We would love to hear from you. And the reason we had started this podcast is to have conversations like this. So you are part of that conversation, and you can know that because we also read your comments on our show as well. So please, please, please let us know what you're thinking, what you think, and what do you think of the show as well. Okay, before we go then, let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. So Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at TCThrowers. You can also find the Controller Throwers podcast right here on GamerheadsPodcast.com and GamerheadsPodcast.podbean.com, as well as iTunes and Google Play. And then, of course, there's our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TCThrowers.
Excellent. And Blue, how can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is @WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
Nice. And listeners, like I said, you can get a hold of us through Twitter or email. You can also message me personally. You can actually send me an email at roger@gamerheadspodcast.com. Yeah, and if you go online at our website, I see all those messages too. So pretty much and I run the Twitter account, so I see all the messages you send to me. So, Mike, thank you so much again for being part of the show.
Pleasure as always.
And Blue, thank you again so much for being part of the show.
You are welcome, Roger.
And listeners, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening for the last hour and a half to us talking about this stuff. And we really appreciate your time and listening to the show. It means a lot to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Until then, keep on playing, and we will talk to you next time. See ya.
Bye.
So long.